What?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host. Here's Vicky.
Hello, everybody. Music. What a powerful instrument. What a mighty weapon. That's a quote from Augusta von Trapp, who ended up years later being she was part of the Trapp family, who they based The Sound of Music on in years later. I'm Jimmy G. Welcome to my first live stream of the Church of Music. I hope you enjoy the show. We got a wonderful guest tonight, Miss Vicki Liz Moir, and she's an artist, she's a musician, she has an interesting story, and I'd like to introduce Vicki to the audience.
Hi.
And we could start out by, I think I'm going to pick Vicki's brain a little bit here, find out what makes her tick.
Go for it.
I had an opportunity to read a little bit about your past and how you got started with the music and where music's taken you. And I saw a quote in what you wrote. I actually put a quote in the bio you sent me where it said, lullabies that your mother sang to you saved your life.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about what was the situation, what was your circumstances at the time?
Yeah, so I come from an uncomfortable past. I'm grateful for it now, but when you're in it, and you're a kid and you don't understand it, it's scary. My father, he was an alcoholic, and my family, there's a lot of turmoil. And you pick up on that as a kid, and sometimes it's even harder to deal with when you're a child because you don't have the maturity to process this. You don't even have the words to understand it. We understand ourselves through stories. So I just remember, my earliest memories are feelings, and they were feeling really scared or lonely and confused. Because what happens when you're, the family's in dysfunction like that is people are so focused on what's causing the dysfunction that they can't always be there for you emotionally and see you and hear you. So, I don't blame my parents, but what they were going through, I didn't always feel seen and heard. And I would often have nightmares and wake up and, maybe my dad was asleep because of his situation. And my mom she had to work really hard to make up for that. He couldn't work as hard. And she had she was getting out of the house by, avoiding things by going and being out of the house a lot. So I remember I would wake up and be like, where is everybody? And I'm all alone. And I have nightmares and wake up. And so my mom, though, but sometimes I would wake up and she would come in and she would sing to me when I was scared. And that would soothe everything. And it wouldn't even be the words so much, but it was just the tone of her voice and just having her there looking at me and seeing me and knowing, okay, I see that you're scared and here I have something soothing for you. Even if it was lyricless, that's all I needed. The presence and the vibration of the music. And, music is universal like that. So even when you're a baby, you don't understand words. Your mom sings to you and you feel it. And I think that vibration helps us to heal. So that's how it saved my life over and over again.
I had grown up in basically a house without a lot of music. My father was an Elvis fan, and he had two artists that he liked, and that's what he would listen to. And they bought me my first guitar. I was about 5 years old. And they would always ask me to sing a song for the guests, sing a song for your aunt, sing a song for your uncle. Mm-hmm. And I was never able to do that. Like, it wasn't... not,
It's not authentic.
For the next 20 years, they asked me to, play a song. I'd say, I don't know any song. Yeah. Meanwhile, I was playing out for a living. I was playing clubs. I was doing professional work at that, later on in life. I still couldn't play that song for the family. And I wish my kids had gotten more interest in playing, because I would love to have the family band, which never happened. Where did you grow up?
In Huntington, Long Island.
And you also said in your bio that your parents were musicians.
Yeah, so they met in college, and they formed a band, and they did, what's now classic rock, which would just be rock to them. All the songs that you think of, like, from that Vietnam era.
Yeah.
So she looked like Janis Joplin, and had that kind of spirit. And so they sang like Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and that kind of stuff. And that's how they started their relationship. And so I've been feeling music since I was in the womb, because then they started with that, and then they went to a church in Huntington and got really involved in the church and became part of that music program. So they've been singing since before I was born. I was a glimmer in their eye. So when I was in my mom's womb, she's singing and playing music. I pick up on that. I came out singing. Been doing it since I remember.
That's another quote I was going to put. But I didn't have a question. I just thought it was like kind of a cute quote. Singing. A cute quote, yeah. And how did you progress through the years in your music? What was the steps?
Yeah, so I guess I can't remember, how what was the first thing musically I got involved in. I just know that I would just do it on my own. So I love Disney movies. And that's probably where it started, like, an unofficial concert in my room by myself, like a one-woman show. And I would just put it, at that time it was cassettes, and I would put it on in my room, and I would just sing the whole album through, and probably like multiple movies just by myself. And I would do that, and I just loved the sound of my own voice. That saved my life. Coming through me, I felt like, oh, that note's beautiful, and it just helped me see the beauty in me and the world. And I'm like, I love this. And then my family saw that I liked to sing, so I got involved. I think the church would be where I first started. So we had a children's choir, and I did that forever. My whole childhood.
What sort of church was it? What was the music style of the church?
Yeah, so it was a Congregationalist church, which is like a part of Christianity. Just so it's a Protestant, a form of Protestant. And so, like, what kind of music?
What was the style of music? Was it the gospel music?
Not so much so they have a choir. Folk. Yeah, like they have the adult choir and the children's choir. So it would be more gospel-esque. But what I liked about, I don't go to that church so much anymore, maybe only Christmas and Easter. But growing up, I loved it because it was very free-spirited, and that's the air of the Protestants. They broke away from Catholicism, so it's like got that air of like rebelliousness. So there wasn't any particular genre which I liked. So my family was more in the folk style. So you had like the regular choir that's there every Sunday, and it's more of a gospel-esque tone to it. But then they would have people performing like special music pieces every week. It would be something different, and then like if my mom and dad did it, it would take on more of a folk sound. And I tend to think that when people did the special songs, that I hear most people going to like a folk style, but it's really, it was anything anybody wanted. I love that. I
played a little bit in Holy Cross Lutheran Church right here in Ronkonkoma for probably over a year and a half, and we used to have a jam on a Sunday afternoon. An open jam, anybody come in and play. And then we would rehearse the songs, but it was all about the children in the church coming up to play the music. we were just the glue that held the children together. It was run by a friend of mine, Charlie Ward, who was like amazingly good with the children, with the songs. He's still on the Christian circuit. He has more of a Christian act that they travel, different Christian functions. But it opened my whole music world up to something new, because my place was, I'm a bass player and I'm totally supportive in a band. I like the supportive role. But this taught me totally something different, because I had to yield to the children that were learning. And it grew, and we ended up having almost probably 15, 16 young people from the church playing music. People that hadn't played before learned how to play. Their families got involved. It just brought, it made its own community within the church community, And then we would play at the service the songs we worked on at the earlier night, and it was a young people's service. But I left there a while after that I think just for scheduling reasons. But that was my first foray into Christian music, and I'm not a Christian, and so it was like, but I have an affinity for the music. I love the Christian music. I love Baptist music. I do work in a lot of Baptist churches, and it's fabulous. I can't get enough of that sound.
It's just such a straight soul connection. The lyrics, what they're talking about.
And when you stopped doing the church gigs, where did you go with it?
So I don't remember when I stopped, but while I was doing that, there were other things that I got into. So I started doing, in school, I was always in the choir in school, and then I was in the band too. I picked up the flute. I haven't picked up the flute in a long time, but that was another music thing I did. So I did it in school while I was doing it in church, and then I was always at summer camp, and whenever there was a chance to do anything musically in summer camp, I did that. So that's all that I did with it. And then, at some point it stopped. Probably like when I got to be a teenager, and I'd say that's when the music stopped. I didn't stop singing, but I was only singing in the shower, in the car, randomly. Once I was out of school, I did sing in the choir in college, but I didn't go any further with it. I had these dreams, or people had the dream for me. They're like, you should, what are you going to be when you grow up? You should do something with music. But fear came in, and I didn't believe in it. I'm like, well, that's really hard. Only special people are lucky enough to get famous and do something with music. So eventually, around when I was a teenager, it started to just slowly die off a bit.
And I read something else that you wrote, that although times were rough, you found you loved the sound of your voice.
Yeah.
Which is rare. A lot of people, I hate the sound of my voice. When I listen to
when
I listen to this show later, I'm going to say, oh, I sounded terrible.
Right.
And I've been playing music professionally for years, and I listen to me and I say, oh, that was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But you said you loved the sound of your voice.
Mm-hmm.
So did that cause you to sing for yourself from the very start?
I think we always sing for ourselves. Anything that we do that's beautiful and other people think it's beautiful, it starts through you because you think it's beautiful. The old thing, you can't love anyone unless you love yourself. Any art, painting, singing, you're doing it because you're healing yourself. You're taking the contents of your heart, whether that's pretty or it's ugly, it's hard, and you're putting it out there and expressing it. But as it's coming through you and you're doing your art, it's healing you. And then other people see that, and they also think it's beautiful, and that helps them to heal. So the artist heals themselves, you hear the music, and the music is healing to you, and it's like we have this symbiotic relationship, the listener and the singer.
Vicki and I have, I guess, a mutual bond, you may call it. both have suffered from addiction in our lives, and we both have found sobriety in our lives. And when you first sobered up, did you shy away from the music, or did you head towards it?
I got into alcohol and drugs because I was shying away from the music, or shied away from the music because I got into the drugs. You know, that's like when the fear crept in. I started, you know, my life just became a little harder. I was bullied, all this stuff, like, you know, all the reasons the fear crept in more and more as I got older and, you know, life showed up. The solution was, how do I shut this off? Because I'm a very sensitive person, and I shut it off with drugs and alcohol. And so I could have soothed myself with music, but I took the easier route. And, you know, but then when I eventually found sobriety, I struggled trying to stay in recovery for like 6 years. And then just recently in this past, it's almost 10 months, like 9.5 months, have I found really solid recovery. And like one of the many reasons, you have to find your medicine. You have to find a reason that you're staying in recovery, and not just because you're white knuckling, I should do this, you know. And so I brought the music back in my life, and that's part of my medicine and what's keeping me here solid in my recovery and wanting to be here. It is my recovery. It's like one of my reasons for being here, my purpose. So that's, you know, once I got clean for good is when the music came back. But I tried to get, the first time I got clean, the music didn't come back. It took so many relapses, and now it's back. Yeah.
I happen to be in a program that, the basis of the program that is that you go out and help other people, and that's how you stay clean.
Yeah.
And I always took that to mean no matter where you are and no matter what the people's problem was, it didn't have to be other people that suffered the same problem as me. And I've always looked at the gift that I began to being able to enjoy music so much and to be involved in the music community, that would be my way of helping. Because we run into other less enjoyable ways of helping at times, but I've always tried to use my music and my love of music to raise the spirits of people.
Yeah.
And from what, you know, when you send me a bio, that's what I see. That you also look at that as part of your recovery.
It's service, yeah. So we can do service in different ways. You know, if you're in a 12-step program, they might say, you know, do service within that program, help other addicts. That's a good way. But there's so many other ways you can do service too along with that. And yeah, I feel like music, it's a service. And I take it into my yoga classes, which that teaching is another form of giving back and giving service back to this world that's helped to heal me. That's what I love, is that I bring those two together. When I bring the harmonium and my voice into my yoga class, I'm taking two things I love, music and teaching. And it's a service, you know, it's not a job. It's like, it's my purpose for being here. So I love that.
Maybe you could explain them, because I'm not sure exactly how to say the word, but Vicky specializes in a particular brand of yoga that we might not be familiar with, and we wouldn't think of it in the normal way we visualize yoga. Maybe you could tell them a little bit about
Bhakti Yoga. So I like how you said brand.
The brand.
Like it's like a type of brand, yeah. And I wouldn't say I specialize in it. I'd say that I practice it. That, you know, it's funny you say that word, because any kind of yoga, they call it a yoga practice.
A practice.
We never master yoga. It's always like they say that with medicine and law, like you're always just practicing it. You know, it's the same with yoga.
Music.
Yeah, anything, I think. I don't know if we ever master anything. But so Bhakti Yoga, most people in the West, at least when you say yoga, I think you get the image of exercise. And that's one form of it. So the yoga that a lot of people know is, if you go to yoga class, you're moving through different positions, and it's a moving meditation. And there's so yoga, if you were to take it, it's an umbrella. There's different types under it. So what yoga is a path to liberation, and it's also connection. So the root of the word yoga means to yoke and connect, which is funny because if you're liberating, you're being free, but you're also connecting.
Mm-hmm.
It's because that's why yoga is everything. It's both. So it's a path to liberation from anything we cling to that makes us suffer, and it's just trying to get more connected to your higher self. So that's the top of the mountain, is to be liberated and less connected by the identity of, I'm Vicky, I'm a teacher, I'm this, I'm that, and more connected to my spirit. That's the top of the mountain. That's what we're doing with yoga. The route you take, the trail you choose to get there is up to you. And you could do all of them, So Bhakti Yoga is just one trail up to liberation. And what Bhakti means is it's the yoga of love or devotion. So love and devotion for
divine.
For the divine. I like that word. People get scared about that.
I like when I read that, when you wrote that, it was for the divine.
Yeah, the divine is what they would say. In Hinduism, they refer to it as the divine. So the divine, God, the universe, my higher power, whatever you're trying to get more connected to through your liberation. So bhakti is just an expression of love and devotion for that higher power. And you do it through the voice. So you don't even need the harmonium. Actually, it started with other instruments, with a drum called the mridanga. The harmonium came in pretty recently. But your voice in Bhakti Yoga is seen as an offering. Your heart is an altar, and you're just giving an offering back up to that divine. So the belief in Sikhism and Hinduism mostly, the belief is that we all have a piece of the divine within us. And the divine wanted to be a human, experience what it's like to be a human. So it peels off pieces of itself and puts it in a human and sends it down, and just to live out different kind of lives. It's its dream. I want to experience being Vicky and being an addict who lives in Huntington, who finds music and heals through that. That's one of the divine's dreams. Mm-hmm. And I'm living that out. Mm-hmm. I'm not Vicky. I'm that piece of the divine. So when I sit with Bhakti Yoga and I sing and I offer it up, I'm letting the divine know, thank you for sending me down here. And let me offer this back up to show you how beautiful it is down here. So we're talking. It's a prayer. And that's yoga. It's one kind of yoga. It's a connection and liberation.
I had a friend, I lived in Pennsylvania for a while. His name was Randy Light. He was a fabulous musician and a wonderful guy. Him and his wife and I put we put a little band together up there. And when somebody did something nice for Randy, he'd say, I think I'm going to go play a couple of songs for them. Mm. And at the time when he said it, I was thinking, it's a little bit egotistical.
I know, but I know.
But I understand today. I understand.
It's an offering.
Even if people didn't take it that way, I understand why I would be doing it. I sing songs for people. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be in a jam Thursday night. It's a Christian jam, also in Ronkonkoma. Seems like everything's in Ronkonkoma tonight. Oh, it's on? Yeah. So we're doing a Christian jam. It's going to be hosted by my buddy Tom Tilford. And it's going to be at Lala's Place, as you can see, on Portion Road, Lala's Flea Market on Portion Road. And they have a huge sound stage room. And it's going to be pretty nice. And it's Christian jam. And as I just said, I'm not Christian, but I wanted to bring a gift to the jam with me. So I wrote a Christian song, and I can't wait to play it. And the words would be fitting for all of us, whether we're believers or not, in the faith. And I guess it's getting to be that time, Bob. I'm talking to Bob, my producer in the back. Maybe you could tell me a little bit about your schedule, Vic?
Where I teach yoga?
Yeah, and it's gonna show up. Bob's
Will
gonna
it show up? Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
he's
it's
showing
kind
it
of
while
long.
doing it.
But do you want me to tell you just basically, oh, should I read it?
No, you can look at, see when it shows up. Yeah, you could just tell about it. You could just speak about it. Yeah,
It's up now?
yeah. You can talk.
Okay. Yeah, so I teach at several different studios. I guess you can see it now. I teach at Funky Home, which is in Huntington, Inner Spirit, which is in Northport, Oyster Bay Yoga, which is obviously is in Oyster Bay, and Gritty Buddha, which is in Glen Cove.
Okay. So between that and the Christian open mic, all are welcome. We could use some vocalists, I think. I believe we could use some vocalists. And there's one more event I'd like to share on March 1st. It's a farewell birthday party for a good friend of mine and a good friend of a lot of the people in the music community here, Big Daddy Carl Rima. And we're going to be doing a big event over at Barbecues, saying farewell to his many years of open mics and jams, the last one being at Kapler's Bar. Going to have musical appearances by Big Daddy and the Bulldogs, and my dear friends, the Septemberists, who will bring back every bit of nostalgia you might have. And they play a good variety. They play some new music. We're getting Vicky set up to do a little demonstration of her work on the harmonium. I just had taken some notes about the harmonium I'd just like to read. The harmonium was named and patented in 1840. It's based on the old reed organ. And it's actually thought of as an Indian instrument, but it's not. It was actually based on a German instrument. So, without further ado, Ms. Vicki Liz Moir on the harmonium, and she'll be singing out the show for us.
So the reason why you hear that repeating over and over again is it's a mantra. So if you know anything about meditation, usually when you think of meditation, you think you're sitting and you focus on your breath, and that's one way to meditate. But meditation is focus on a single point. It could be your breath, it can be something you look at. Some people like to just look at like a candle flame. A mantra is just another thing that we just continually focus on. So you focus on a single point, and that's supposed to slow your mind chatter down and your worry. So especially if you're finding it hard to quiet your mind and de-stress, I feel like a mantra is a way to give the mind what it wants. It wants to think in words. So you say, okay, take this mantra and repeat it. And you trick your mind into meditating because you speak in its language in words. But you just keep repeating and repeating. And even if you didn't know what the words meant, they just start to purify your heart. And then we always start with an Om, usually before a mantra, because our Om is the sound of everything. It's the sound of the divine. They say that the universe started the Big Bang with the sound of Om. So we usually start and end a mantra with that sound. So sometimes I sing in English, sometimes I sing in Sanskrit. And this next song, it's Hawaiian and English. Ho'oponopono. And it's a forgiveness prayer, forgiveness song. And forgiveness, it can be if you feel like you've done another person wrong. But like I said, everything starts with us. Our art comes through us and heals us, and that heals other people by them being around that. So to me, you know, the things that I did in my past before I came to recovery, mostly, those are the things I have to forgive within myself. So I really love this song because I sing it for me, and I sing it for people that maybe I've heard along the way, and I sing it for the world. Oh, pano, pano. 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 I am so sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. I thank you. I am so sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. I thank you. I am so sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. I thank you. I am so sorry. I love you, please forgive me. I thank you, oh, pano, pano. Oh, pano, pano, oh, pano, pano. Oh, pano, pano, oh, pano, pano. Oh, pano, pano, oh, pano, pano. I am so sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. I thank you. I am so sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. I thank you. I am so sorry. I love you, please forgive me. I thank you, I am so sorry. I love you, please forgive me. I thank you, I am so sorry. I love you, please forgive me. I thank you, I am so sorry. I love you, please forgive me. Oh, pano, pano. 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 I love you. So thank you for allowing me to give that offering out. I pause because there's so many songs that I can sing. It's like, how do you choose? What's the best one? And I try to stay in the moment, just think, what do you need to hear? What does the world need to hear? So I don't align with a particular religion, but I guess you would say I really jive with Hinduism, and the stories of all the gods are really interesting. And I'm not a master of those stories. I don't know them all. But one god, Ganesh, he looks like an elephant. And he's said to be the remover of obstacles. Whatever obstacles are in your way of that path to liberation and you being purified and loving yourself, carrying out your purpose, whatever it is you're here to do, you know, you run up into obstacles. And sometimes I think we think the outside world is putting those obstacles there. But how much of that are we putting in the way? Just by our thoughts, what we say to ourselves, the illusions that we believe in that cause us suffering. We have the key to unlock that. Ganesh also puts obstacles in your way. And how is that helpful? And it's because sometimes we think we know the way. Ganesh puts an obstacle there to make you take a detour in a way that's better for you. So I really love him. I sing to him a lot. Om Gam Gana Pataye Namaha. Om Gam Gana Pataye Namaha. Pataye Namaha. Om Gam Gana Pataye Namaha. Ganesha Shada, Ganesha Shada, Ganesha Shada, Ganesha Shada, Ganesha, excuse me, Shada, Ganesha Shada. Om Gam Gana Pataye Namaha. Om Gam Gana Pataye Namaha. Ganesha Shada, Ganesha Shada, Ganesha Shada, Ganesha
Shada So I love that in the middle there's a little mistake. Just like I had to cough or whatever, something got stuck in my throat, and I smiled because that's my obstacle. I realized, whatever lesson you need comes up when it needs to. And it's like Ganesha heard me, because one of my obstacles is that I think everything has to be perfect before I can do it. Doing something live, I'm like, what's going to go wrong? And something went wrong, but it's to show me that that's okay. You just keep singing. You say, my bad, and you just keep singing. And I forgive myself for it, So that's an obstacle. It was an obstacle in the way of me singing for a moment, but it taught me something that I need to feel comfortable doing this performance. So that's what I love so much about that mantra is I feel that, I feel that the things that are hard, the obstacles, make me who I am. My foot fell asleep from sitting here. But this instrument, you have to sit on the floor. That's like the traditional way that it's done. So, I'm going to sing something in English. This song is like a lullaby. We don't outgrow the need for lullabies ever. No, you are love. Rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams. Till your soul is released. No, you are loved. Rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams. Till your soul is released. Beloved child, my heart is yours. Beloved child, go out and open doors with your love, with your faith, with your compassion, grace. Oh, with your grace. Beloved child, you are the light of the world. Beloved child, go out, spread light to the world. Be strong, be kind, be brave. Know your mind, know that you're divine. Know that it's alright to be afraid. Know you are loved. Rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams till your soul is released. Know you are loved. Rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams till your soul is released. Know you are loved. Know you are loved and loved. Just like the art comes through you, you are art as you're making art. You are loved and you're sending out love, but you are love itself. To me, that song, that lullaby, I have to sing that to myself to remember. Times when I feel dark, that I am light, I am love, and it moves through me all the time. So I hope that whoever hears that song remembers that. So since I was talking about the divine in a little bit like Hinduism, Bhakti Yoga is something that we do with Bhakti Yoga is kirtan, and kirtan would be where like someone like me would sit with the harmonium and they're the leader of the kirtan. But there's a crowd of people, or even just one other person, but somebody's mirroring back your mantra. So that prayer you're giving up to the divine, you can do it by yourself, or you do it together as a group, and you're sending a prayer up together. So what I love about kirtan is that sense of community. So for me, you know, community is so important for all of us. We used to live in tribes and we don't anymore. We're very isolated. We don't even see people sometimes. We just connect through text and social media. So to sit with people and like a tribe and sing together is so healing. For me, that gives me that sense of being seen and heard. So usually what you would do, I'm going to do it by myself, but usually what you would do is you would say a mantra to whatever deity that you want to speak to, and then somebody would repeat. So Krishna, I guess you would liken it to like the Christians' idea of Jesus. It was, the God came down in a human form to show us how to live the path, what it's like to be divine and human at the same time. So the Maha Mantra is the great mantra, and it goes out towards Krishna. Is this really cool blue-colored guy. And if you want, sing with me at home. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
As she closes out the night, I'd like to thank my friend Vicki Liz Moir for joining me tonight. She made my job very easy, and I hope to have her back in the future. I'd like to thank all my friends who tuned in, and hope to see you every Tuesday, 9 p.m. We're going to just try to share love and music, and music and love. And I'd like to thank my producer, Bob Loggia, who taught me what I'm doing tonight. He's working all behind the scenes there to keep this going. See you next week. Well, tune in to Jimmy G's Church of Music. Thank you, and good night.